Hello, I'm Dan Gramza, coming to you from the San Francisco Money Show. And I'm here with Kerry Given from Parkwood Capital. Kerry, I'd like to talk about something you and I were just briefly discussing earlier, and that's earnings. What's your strategy? How do you approach the earnings period? It's a timely topic since we've kind of just gone through that period.
First, my preamble would be I'm a fairly conservative trader, and earnings trades are risky. It's basically a binary trade. You put it on, and it's like a coin flip. You're either right or you're wrong. And so I don't play very many, and I play them in small scale. But they're interesting trades. The way I do it is I basically use the straddle, the at-the-money straddle, to price the expected range. And then I look at past earnings announcements, how much did it move, and average that out and give me another range. And then I try and place my spreads outside of that range. So I'm selling a call spread way up above and a put spread down below. And in 24 hours, you know if you're right or wrong.
Well, that's very true. You will get some feedback short term. What do you typically do then? Let's say the earnings report comes out, you have a safety net in there, but if it does start to move, it starts to cooperate. How long do your typical earnings reports trades last, or do you let that leg run? What do you typically do?
Usually it's only a day or two. It depends. If I get a big move, let's say I get a big move in the stock that runs up to close to my call spread. So my call spread is somewhat underwater. It may be enough that I have a total loss over the whole trade, or it may be just a small gain overall. But I'll close that call spread and just let the put spread expire worthless. Sometimes if there's not much movement at all, I let them both expire worthless. Because usually I'm using a weekly option that only has a couple days left.
Okay. So you're taking advantage of that type of time frame.
That's one advantage of the weekly options. Because almost all these stocks have them.
That's a very good point, and it is an advantage because you got that ability to trade that time frame of a week. And again, the results are going to find out fairly quickly. I like that because you have a short feedback loop, and you can decide whether to hold it, like you say, let it expire, or manage it in a different way. Do you have particular ways that you approach stocks that you're looking for in dividends? You look at previous dividend history. Well, you mentioned you looked at some of that to give a
past earnings,
feel.
See how much they moved in the past.
And do you use any filters to identify dividend stocks that you like, or do you have a tendency to focus on a handful? Or?
I focus on a lot of the large volume stocks, Apple, Netflix, stocks like that. And I want to see a chart that I'm feeling pretty bullish about. And I also focus on the last 2 or 3 days before the announcement, because sometimes if it's trading up strongly, for example, I may not play it because I feel like somebody knows something and it may be a huge move. And I don't want to be there for a huge move.
Right.
That's this kind of thinking goes into it.
I like that one because oftentimes, especially in the equity world, people don't take into account how people are positioning themselves before that announcement.
That's right.
And I think there are some clues there sometimes that we can extract from that.
That's right.
That's a good one. I like that.
Another important point I would add is you want to size the trade properly. Since this is a trade where you either win or lose overnight, basically, I don't want to put too much at risk. And so I manage my risk by how many contracts I put on.
That's a good way to do it. That makes sense. I like that strategy. Now, how would someone find out more about your thoughts and ideas of how you approach the markets?
You could go to my website, which is parkwoodcapitalllc.com, and you'll find several of my services I offer, the trading group and other services, as well as a lot of free downloads, videos, as well as white papers, and sources, how to get to me to ask questions.
Terrific. Kerry, thank you so much for today. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you watching. Dan Gramza coming to you live from the San Francisco Money Show.